What's up, everybody? It is episode 6 of the AEC, and that is Anything, Everything Cornhole. The two showmen right here, Richard Nyberg and Gunnar Briz. We are coming at you. This is episode 6, right? Yeah, we just reiterated that. But also, before we get started, too, this is a Chargers jersey. It's not a Raiders jersey. So if anybody does ask, it's just a collector's jersey. Now that we got that out of the way, regionals in Poway, San Diego. We did that this weekend. We played we played the singles and we played the doubles in the open division, man. We're going to start with Gunnar here on his singles journey, which we did play a rounder. So they did give us one rounder and then into double elimination, which was cool. So it wasn't super packed.
I think
it was,
a rounder is like really nice, honestly.
Yeah, no,
like
I agree.
it
Not
honestly
two,
like eases you into it, and it's like not two, just like one where it doesn't really matter. You're just out there throwing, getting the warm up in or whatever.
So I think we could have done two, right? Because there was only like 18 players. So
I think there were 16 in singles.
Okay, there you go. So 16 players. We probably could have had two just for some extra cornhole. But either way, we had a rounder. So Gunnar, how was the singles for you, man?
The rounder was good until I went to the playoffs. But
who did we play?
I played Tyler Parent first round, and I gave up an 8-0 first round, which is that's just what I'm known for. I always got to give up a big round in the beginning, because whenever I get out in front, that just doesn't work. So I gave up an 8-0 right at the beginning, and then I just focused, and I actually climbed. It was like 14-3 or something, and then I got all the way back up to 15-14. And I climbed my way, and then he got to 20, and then I got to 19, and then he ended up closing it out 23-19. But I mean, I still shot a really high 8. He shot like a 9 something. So I was like with him the whole entire time. If I don't give up that big round in the beginning, I'm probably better off. And then what did I tell you when we were warming up at the tournament? Do you remember what I said? I said, I'm going to get you like first round, just watch.
Oh, yeah.
And then I literally got you first round.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I just knew, because like I was sitting like, I think 9th in California on points, and you're what, like you're like 64 or something.
No, well, I'm 44 now. So.
Well, now, but I'm saying before this tournament.
I was 48.
Okay, so
you went up 4 spots. It's weird.
So you were 48 and I was 9th. So that they basically take the seating off of the points for your ACL. So I ended up getting you first round. That game sucked. I don't know why. It was just terrible.
I was mad at you, by the way, for blowing your last round.
Well, it's because I wanted to cut and grab the bag. I know I could have just given up 4 and it would have put you at 20. But I was like, I'm just going to go for a Hail Mary and just go for it.
I feel you.
And then the next round, I get Brent Gonzalez, and I'm like, great. For some reason, he just like, he plays the opposite game of what I do, or what I actually like. He just slides every bag in, and I don't prefer that type of game. I'm actually trying to work on that game, because that's something I need to get better at. I think that's like my lack, because I feel like the reason I'm more comfortable is because down in competitive and intermediate, not everyone makes the bags like consistently. So I got really used to just having a muddy board and then being able to roll over things. And that's what kind of got me ahead of the game in competitive, is being able to roll and stuff like that and cut around bags. But when it's an open board, people just destroy me, because that's not what I'm used to. So I've really tried to been focusing on like just sliding every bag in and playing that type of game. So Brent beat me 21-0. So that was cool. And that was the end of my singles. It was, it was kind of a rough one, but I'm happy that I kept up with Tyler Parent, because that shows that I still can compete with some people that are the best. I think he was ranked like first in California last year on points or whatever. I know he was up there, and he's been a pro for a while, for like years. And I know he's been on national television and won with Brevin, like a national and stuff. So I know being able to even keep up with 21-19, even though I lost, like, I don't give up that first round. I probably could have taken that one.
Right.
How was your singles, though? I know you did a lot better than I did.
Not really. I mean, so obviously playing you, I got that game. Then I go into the next game. Well, actually, the rounder. We'll start with the rounder. Eric Cherney. and I ended up beating him, which was pretty cool. So I
Mhm.
actually took out a couple pros this past regional, which was nice. So Eric Cherney, I got him. It was 25-16. He was actually up 10 points on me in that game. It was like, I think it was like 11-1 or 10-0. I don't know. It's something. It
Mhm.
was bad. I will say this though. I was listening to music in that game, and I need new headphones because those headphones were cutting in and out bad.
Oof.
So it would throw me off. I had the music up loud because I'm just like, I'm gonna gel,
Mhm.
doing my thing, and all of a sudden it would cut and
Oh,
then
that's
kick
the
back
worst.
in. So like right when I'm about to throw, it would kick back on loud. I was like, dude, like I know that's like an excuse, but then it's not because I
No,
did after I took the headphones out, I ended up winning.
I had that I like not cutting in and out, but like I always typically listen to music. This is the one term I didn't listen to music,
Yeah.
but literally it's always like you're about to throw it, there's a phone call or a text message that comes in or a notification from some random app that you didn't even know you had on your
Well, dude,
phone.
you just got to put it into like airplane mode or whatever,
No, I always
or
put it
do
do
not
not
disturb.
disturb, but I always
Yeah.
sometimes I forget and it's like that one notification and then I'm like, oh frick, I forgot.
Right. Well, then after the rounder, I got you. Yes, I did win that game. But then I go against Ron Butcher in the next game, and Ron, man, can shoot.
Mm-hmm.
He's that ultra guy. You felt that firsthand when we played our doubles. We'll talk about that in a second. He got me 22-12. I don't know what was going on with me. Once again, just not playing the way I know I normally play. Dwayne Mathis, I get um in my elimination,
Mm-hmm.
and that one was even worse, man. It was 22-4. It was atrocious. And
Did
Dwayne's a shooter, man.
did he
So
make every bag like he did when we were playing doubles at Crown City?
no, so he shot a 9.
Okay.
Yeah, he shot a 9. I didn't shoot high. That was actually a bad one for me. I even had 5 bags off. That was the most bags I had off of the day. Like it was terrible. He just didn't have it. He had 1 bag off. That's
Mm-hmm.
that's going to be a deciding factor. Um, so that ended my day in the singles. I had every opportunity actually for both of those games. We actually went quite a few rounds. I had every opportunity to beat them both. And for some reason, I'm kicking left, I'm kicking right. I don't know if I was just overthinking. Once again, it's a mental game.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody knows that it is playing and it's been playing for a while. It is definitely a mental game, and you got to work on battling those demons, get them out of your mind, and just throw bags.
I mean, it's like I
Which is
explained to everyone. It's essentially like a carnival game. It's like those games that you walk up and you pay $5. You look so easy, like shooting the little red star, but it's physically impossible to get that whole thing clear unless you cut off the piece of paper. Same with the
right.
basketball one. They extend the neck of it. I don't know if that's what it's called from the backboard. So it just changes just a little bit. So it's all mental at that point. And like you
Yeah.
think like it looks so easy. You're like, oh, I'm gonna win the big prize, but literally you never win them.
Right.
And that's how cornhole is.
Well, our doubles kicked in after. Of course, we drew first blood on Tyler Parent and Braden Barrow. And Braden's really stepped it up, man. I remember I played him last year, and he wasn't hitting the way he was hitting this one. So he's definitely kicked in the practice a lot. Um, we drew first blood on them, and needless to say, it was a very forgettable game.
Mm-hmm.
The most embarrassing game I've ever played since I started playing. And that you can't call embarrassment because you're just learning. It was so bad. It was over in like 3 rounds.
No,
Boom,
I
boom,
think we got
boom.
4.
Maybe 4.
I think
Okay.
we each got 2. I think we each got 2.
Generously 4 rounds. Okay. So it was terrible. We shot extremely low. I shot a very forgettable game. And it was against a pro. And so of course I'm mad at myself because I was like, dude, I don't play like this. Anybody that knows me, they know I don't
I
play
feel
like
like
that.
also as the day went on, singles the bags were sliding, and then once we hit doubles, the bags would not move.
Yeah, but it's not an excuse because then at the end of the day, they're having to deal with it too. I will
But
say this though, they were all running. Most of them were running Viper R's, and
they
Viper
were
R's
sliding.
were just sliding, man. Like, I mean,
They never got affected once by it.
No, it was so clean. We're gonna get into bag talk here in a little bit. However, I'm feeling mad at this point because I'm just like, what am I doing? Like, I'm ready to go home. I was just
You were so mad.
I was like, I cannot believe that I just did what I did. And then I don't know, something kicked in, and we just we fought through, because we go into our elimination game, And here, I'm gonna pull it up actually.
We got Ron Butcher and his
We
partner.
had Ron Butcher and Edwin Ashman. Now, mind you guys, Edwin Ashman, I'm actually a fan of this guy. He was like one of the first guys I ever saw like play broadcast. Not like on ESPN or anything, but broadcast YouTube. When they have those ACL ones, he played one of my buddies and just destroyed him. So I was like, dude, maybe one day I'll get a chance to play this guy. And lo and behold, he showed up.
You said he's
and we
like
played
top
him.
like 50 or 100 on Scorehole
Dude,
or something.
Yeah, he's top in Scorehole.
Because I didn't even know who he was, but
he's a monster,
saying.
man. He almost averages a 9. He's really good. He is really good. So after we lost that very forgettable first game, we go in and we play. We played Ron Butcher, Edwin Ashman. Now this game was, I don't know, it was a roller coaster of emotions because we were down a lot, and I was like, yeah, our day's over. Like I'm just thinking that. And then I don't know what happened, but I just kind of like went into possessed mode, and I got mean. Not like to him, but mean with the bags. We needed points, and I'm like, I see his bag sitting up there on the back end. I'm in 3 bags already, and I saw his bag chilling back behind, and he had another bag sitting to the right, and I was like, dude, I'm knocking your bag off, bro. I and one him. He's like, you're not a nice man. Like, I hit him on an and one just out of anger because I was like, dude, I need points. Like, I'm tired of this. Like, and then all of a sudden, man, we just started gelling. It started working. Edwin started missing. I don't think though Ron Butcher was really missing on you, dude.
No, he ended up throwing a 9.13. Had 22 in, 7 on, and 3 off. And
yeah,
I had
he shot a 9.13.
14 in, 16 on, and 2 off, which that's what killed us.
Yeah. But it's all right. Yeah, because I almost got a 2 DPR on Edwin.
See, but then Edwin had 18
11
in,
bags
7
off,
on, and 11 off. Yeah,
get 11 off. I did knock one of his bags off, so he would have had only 10 off.
when you were telling me, you're like, oh yeah, Edwin is like really good, this and that. I was like, and I was watching him play. I was like, man, I should have been throwing against him, and you should have been throwing against the other guy.
Yeah, but hey, and the thing was though is that I know he's a great player. Like the dude can throw. He is vicious. And he just had one of those games. I don't know what it was. He also wasn't a fan of Psycho X's. That's what they were running. So I mean, it could have been mental in his head too with that. Anyways, we got through that game. We won 20-20. It was extremely close. We go into the next game, and we're not, mind you, from here on out, we're not playing easy games. Like everybody we had to play was rough because we got Matt Allen and Joseph Lim in the next game. And those of you guys know Matt Allen, he's a pro, and he's very good. Very good.
Actually just started his own bag company, Magnum Bags.
Yes. The dude is a monster. But I outshot him that game. We ended up winning that game, 21-14.
Yeah.
I shot a 10-3-3 on Matt, and he shot a 9-8-3. I was 50% of my four bagger percentage, man. I was just like I said, I was playing possessed, man. What it was.
You guys definitely played the sliding game that game. And
well, we started slow. We started blocks. We started a little like rough, like dirty bags. And then honestly, I kind of just wanted to really respect him and know his strong game. And I was like, let me go toe to toe with this guy. Let's just start.
Well, I also knew the double slicks, like those bags will move.
Yeah.
I think
his bags were moving.
I think the double slicks are the fastest Magnum bags.
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken.
Oh, his bags were moving. They could move mid board and all the way up. Mine, you noticed I was hitting up towards the top, which is why I was pretty proud of myself.
Yeah,
for
double slicks are
fours.
slow 8. I don't even know if they're a carpet.
I don't know. I just know that they were pretty hole for hole. You know, I mean, honestly, it was a good game for me. I mean, I played really, really well. You played and you out through
Jody.
Yeah. So we ended up getting that game. And then we get into our next game. And this was a game I thought, well, first off, I didn't think we were going to get through Matt just because, you know, Matt
I thought we had a chance as long as Matt went on your side because he's a very hole for hole player. Like I've played Jody multiple times in like obviously like the local tournaments and stuff. But I know Matt Allen. I've played him once at state last year. That was my first time I played open. He was just whole the whole time.
He just
And
blew you
so,
out.
no, he only shot like an 8 something.
Yeah.
But we ended up losing. I don't remember what the score was. It was a while ago.
Well, moving on, we got into the next game. It was against Brent Gonzalez, local legend out of nonfiction. And the dude is absolute money. Most of you guys know, if any of you guys, if you guys follow on this channel, you should know Brent Gonzalez. He's a phenomenal shooter, and he had Brad Renfro. I don't know much about Brad Renfro.
I didn't know who he was.
I don't know. I know Brent knows him. And he could throw. I was actually watching him throughout the day, like when he was warming up and throwing and stuff. I mean, he was hole for hole. Like he was doing well. He struggled that game for sure. And honestly, we won that game pretty quick, 23-2. I shot a 10 on Brent in that game, honestly. So yeah, that was he shot an 8.75. I shot a 10. And that was another 50% four-bagger percentage. So I went back to back shooting half my game into 12s. And then came the game to at least make it into third place. And I don't know. I shot a 9.29 against his name is James is it Season?
Probably, yeah. I don't know how to say it, but something like
that. He's British. So yeah, he's a British guy. Heck of a shooter.
He normally
heck of a shooter.
That's he's pretty low for him. Normally he shoots around a 10. Every time I play him, he shoots like a high 9 to a 10.
And he's a Logic guy. So
is he?
Yeah. I mean, he was repping everything Logic. So
I didn't know.
Logic jersey. They were running Logic bags. I think they were running Prisms.
Yeah.
But it was a rough game. Honestly, a game I think that out of all the games that we played leading up to them should have been our, and no disrespect, just because the caliber of the players, like seeing Matt Allen was like, okay. And then Ron Butcher is nasty, and even Brent Gonzalez. I know Brent can, I mean, at the Derby, we talked about him and he was just ridiculous, So no, absolutely no disrespect to these guys. I just felt like this should have been the game because who you were throwing against, he was plastered. Like he was plastered drunk. So I'm like in my mind, I was like, we got this game, dude. We're going into at least third place, because we got to play Eric Cherney if we win that one. And he had Ken Gross, and Ken Gross, both of them threw nasty. So that, we ended up falling short. It was 22-19. I did get an epic roll shot, which is pretty cool in that game. Especially because we needed that. It was like what? That was a 2-point capitalize on that one as well, I believe. So, but yeah, hit that nice shot. Good recommendation. You said just roll it, man. We had some weird bags in that game though. That airmail I had, it should have dragged and it didn't. I hit it. That bag went in and the other one just kind of hung. I was like, there's a 12 I lost. We had some really weird ones.
I had a lot kick off to the left. And I'm not going to say I think the board was tilted, but also when I looked at, because Ultra boards have like their like bubble in the back, Yeah. And it was definitely to the left side. So it was tilted to my left down. And I think because the boards were so slow in the back, just gripped it. It just kept ripping it to the left.
Yeah. Your first bag kept doing it because you would instantly correct after that bag one. But bag one was what was killing us because it wasn't blocking. It was on, but it was out of play. And I think that's what hurt because even
or he would get a kick off my bag and go
Johnny
in too.
Rocket is who you were thrown against. And Johnny was plaster drunk. Like the man, unless he's just that way, but I mean
he was definitely drunk.
I was gonna say from what his partner was saying, he's like, he's had quite a few. They did go into the next game and lost 26-5. So, I mean, but I don't know. I felt like that was the one we should have won, and at least we would have made podium because I don't know. I mean, any given day, like we could beat a team, but Eric Cherney, King Gross was like, they were gelling pretty well together.
I also think my last bag screwed us too because I was like, oh, I'll just wash and then Rich will get the bags back. Literally skipped over the hole.
It did. I was like, yeah, we're getting a 10-point wash. We're going to start again. And honestly, I was beating him on my end. I mean, I did
Mm-hmm.
outshoot him. Um, so I mean, but it happens. And thus ended. We took fourth, but we did get some good points. So like
Yeah.
93 or 94 points
Mm-hmm.
for the day. So that was actually not bad at all. And we're just getting one step closer, to hitting podium. And so we got quite a few regionals and conferences and stuff coming up. So we got a lot going here, a lot of practice still every day.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the only way to get better, is to keep practicing, and then not just practice, working on your fundamentals and building your IQ. Like, now that I've been playing these regionals, I see different things now, and I'm like, this is making me a stronger player.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm starting to
I
see
also just got
things.
a question too. Is like, for maybe like people that are listening that want to get into like regional stuff, what is the mindset different from like a local tournament to like a regional? Because I know a lot of people, including myself, like go into locals and you're just like, it doesn't really mean anything. And then as soon as you go into a regional, you're going to get like basically the podium people every round at a local tournament. It's like your more serious players. What should you expect going into that? And like, how do you overcome that kind of thing? Like, what would you recommend? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I think, and there's a few things. I'm sure you've got some stuff here too.
Mm-hmm.
I would say one of the things is definitely the your stats, your mind on stats. Um, if you're a scoreholio, player, and you've built your stats to some good credibility, like you're like, yeah, I'm a shooter,
Mm-hmm.
and then you haven't had anything yet ACL wise, it might play a factor in your head. You're like, oh, I gotta get 12s, 12s, 12s. So then you're gonna start putting your pride up too high, trying to collect things you shouldn't be collecting. It's okay if you throw a 4. If they threw a 5,
Mm-hmm.
but you threw a 4 and you're giving up a point. Remember, put your pride aside and eat the point. Especially if it feels like it's just gonna be too hard to hit it,
Mm-hmm.
you know? Like, if their bags are up and you're like, I'm gonna go for this shot, but I could possibly end up dragging their bag in or whatever, and then mine goes off. Just eat the point, put your pride
Mm-hmm.
aside. I think that is a big factor into jumping into those. Yes, you're going to play against a lot of the top shooters because, well, just kind of depending on where you're going to be. If
I'd
you're playing
also say these are the
intermediate
tournaments
or,
that people definitely drive to. It's more the serious players.
yeah,
They'll drive a good hour or two to play in these rather than like, you'll just get your locals and then you'll have those like 5 top guys. Those 5 top guys times that by the whole bracket, basically. It's the
facts.
ones that
Yeah.
want to play, the ones that want
Everybody's
to be
there to
there.
shoot. When you're in the advanced or the open, everybody in there is a shooter at some point. Like, they could be one of the nastiest like club shooters. Maybe they struggle in regional. So you're like, oh yeah, I got through that guy, but that guy could probably dominate you in a local,
Mm-hmm.
game. So never discredit who you're throwing against in these. And I think really the biggest way to overcome it is just stay in your rhythm. The same rhythm you have local. Try to not even think about that you're at a regional. Just
Mm-hmm.
throw your bags. I mean, it's easier said than done. I think you got to get into 1 or 2 to kind of get your feet wet. Don't expect to win it. I mean, unless you're just an absolute god at the game, but don't expect to win it, because some of these guys have been doing it for so long that they're just
Mm-hmm.
used to the environment.
Yeah.
So, and if you got to humble yourself a little bit and play a little lower just to kind of see how you feel. I mean, as long as you can play in a lower, like if you're competitive, you can't play intermediate, but
Mm-hmm.
play in the competitive,
I
don't go
would
up
say
if you
like the
feel
advanced level in like a local tournament when the label is advanced, that is basically almost like your comp tournaments.
right.
That's the easiest way to explain. I mean, you have obviously your top shooters from advanced. They're throwing high 8s, 9s, 10s, but the average player that plays in advanced is a comp player in
Yeah.
ACL.
Agreed. Oh, agreed. 100%. Yeah. Really, you just got to play. I think that's
Mm-hmm.
just the big part. You just got to play, and you got to be willing to accept defeat. And it doesn't mean you're a bad player by any means.
Yeah.
And if people are thinking that you're a bad player afterwards or whatever, then they're just not a good person.
Well, it
Because,
also is going to help because down the future they're going to look past you. They're like,
yeah,
"Oh, I'm playing against Richard.
yeah, I
All
smoked
right,
this
so
guy
who's my
before.
next game after Richard?" And then Richard
Yeah,
comes up and beats you, and then you're like, "Well, damn, now you're out of the tournament." You know?
yeah. I overthought him, or I didn't even think about him because I blew him out like two months ago. It's like, well, in
Yeah.
2 months, man, a lot's changed,
2
So
weeks is a lot of time.
yeah,
You
absolutely.
don't practice for 3 days and they practice all 14 days. Like a lot can.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You just got to play. I think you got to play. You got to get the jitters out. You're going to have them. My first regional, I legitimately had jitters in my first singles. And I started kind of just like blocking it out, and then I started just shooting fire. But I was hit and miss throughout the day that first regional. So, I'm still learning through my regionals or just even through these big ACL tournaments. I'm still like getting into a comfort zone like I do in club. Yeah, that was a great question though. Yeah, it's you just got to really just got to play and accept defeat and keep playing them until they get comfortable.
Yeah.
You're not gonna be Mark Richards, who's like the last Open 9-0 and shot a 10-7 or something, on average, and he's like just tying all these like mega records by like guys like Jamie Graham and stuff.
Well, it's like he
you know?
basically what was it? He like tied for the most like wins at Opens, like to Matt Guy and Jamie Graham in like a season and a half or something.
Yeah.
And it's just something wild like that.
It's a rare breed with guys like Mark Richards, but he does put in the work. The dude is practicing probably right now as we're on this podcast. He's practicing or playing. This guy's just nonstop. And if you want to be that good and you got the time, then you're gonna expect good results. So. But yeah, no, so great question. Yeah, that kind of wrapped up our regional day. It wasn't bad. It wasn't great, but it wasn't bad. Our singles could have been a lot better. Doubles wasn't bad. Wasn't bad.
That's
Learning
the furthest
experience.
we've gone so far together.
Yeah. Yeah,
So that
definitely
is a
the
start.
furthest. Definitely the furthest. And honestly, man, some honorable names to have beaten, that day. So, it wasn't like it was a walk in the park elimination bracket. It was every game we were going into was, I mean, we were gonna have to work, but that's a boost of confidence too, because we just beat some guys that we know that are like absolute savages. So we're like, yeah, we hang with these guys, we can do it, and it's just building consistency, man, and being confident in ourselves, building the same robotic technique over and over and over again. Don't change stuff up, especially if it is working. Don't change it up because you saw somebody else doing it and you're like, oh, I want to look like that. No. Be you. Literally, be you. What do we got now?
Let's talk about bag designs. Because
Yeah.
I feel like, so going into doubles, we were throwing your Las Vegas wingman. They have like the Las Vegas logo and whatnot. And I feel like that design was not for me. And you're probably going to, like, a lot of people are going to question, like, a bag just is a bag, right? But really, it comes down to, there's a lot more than just a bag being a bag. It's one, how they break in. Each bag design is going to break in different than others. So more simple designs are going to break in. I feel like more like, what's the word? I can't even think of the word. Like break in
easier,
like evenly, more evenly, I guess, if that makes sense. And I feel like they're just more like silky with the less design and the less color. And also color plays a big factor into too of like how fast the backing is, because if the backing has 3 different colors, the bag's going to play 3 different speeds. Yeah. Not by a ton, but enough to, I know a lot of pros will carry the same bag and then carry 2 to 3 different colors because they know like, oh, the blue one's going to play faster than the green, but the black's going to play faster than or slower than all of them or whatever. Usually like white tends to play faster, black tends to play slower depending. I know Reynolds it's switched, but most of the time it depends on the bag and everything. Like we threw the Las Vegas ones. I didn't throw too well with those, and you said you liked them better than your pumpkin ones, but I personally like your pumpkin wingman better than the Las Vegas ones.
Right. They're I will say this. They're very drippy. They will literally fall in. I mean, like a Viper R, as smooth as they go. It's not that I don't like my Halloween edition. I do like them. I feel like for me, I play better with my Vegas ones. I mean, but you do know and you can feel the difference on the templates. The bag. It's crazy. Like even though it's the same bag, it's the material. and it will. It does play a
Well, the
factor in your
dye,
hand.
it's the dye of the color, like might break in
Right.
better,
Right.
or just it just really depends. Cause I know there's been people that will basically buy a bag for the design, not even because it's like the coolest one or the color or whatever, because it plays the best for them.
Yeah.
So I know like that's like a big factor into things.
Yeah. I think a lot of players will just, like, new players will get bags based on design and then not realize that it just doesn't play as good as the other one. So like my first set of Guardians I ever got was the 2023 Guardians. They were those, remember the orange and blue ones, the little lightning bolt on them.
Really floppy.
Now, I mean, they're super hole friendly. I'll tell you that. I mean, if you don't throw a flat bag, that bag looks weird. I mean, it literally comes in like it almost like stretches like this way, you know, like from corner to corner. So it just looks terrible through the air. Like, if I've played with so many switches with those bags, and like my bag is like nice and flat, and I'll get some that kind of like have that little, you know, saw wheel. And oh
blade,
my
yeah.
God, the saw blade, dude, it is terrible. It looks horrendous. You know, I don't know, because the bag is so drippy, but now they have that other Guardian bag from 23, which I watched Tony Forbes and them still play that bag. They were playing it at the Bags Mania, from what I saw, and that bag, I mean, it plays different.
Which one is it?
It was their basic Guardian one, like the first
one that says
one
Guardian across it.
Literally from across from it is like white. It's got like a just
so basically
minimal design.
When you told me with that, I mean, I remember the first time we played, you're like, oh, I throw Guardians, and I'm like, perfect. I throw Costello X's, basically the same bag, because when I played State last year, my partner was sponsored by Brotherhood, and he was throwing the Guardians, but he had the ones with the name across the bag. And they felt pretty much identical. His were a little bit more silkier and whatever.
Yeah.
But you told me at Guardians, and then you brought out these orange ones and blue, and the top material, the fast side, is completely different. Even though it could be the same speed, the feel and how it got broken in and everything was completely different.
Right.
And it just like, I was like, this is not the bag. This is not it. It just felt weird because it had a bigger design and a template on like the design covered the whole entire template. So I feel like it wasn't as like materially, it was more like, you know what I'm saying?
Oh, and I mean, we made a mistake by switching to the bags midway through. That was our first ever BYOP, and we started with your Costello X's. We actually started game one, and you know what's funny is I shot my highest game that night with your bags. Even though I was like, oh, I want to run my bags or whatever. It was probably, you know, not the smartest thing. And you know,
and needless to say, yours were way faster too than mine.
Yeah, they were quicker.
Quick.
I remember you just trying to roll with them. You just weren't getting roll shots with them. Nothing. Like it was a very forgettable day. You know, like we had like 2 wins, and it was like one was a rounder win, one was our first win in the bracket, and then after that we got smoked. So you know, yeah. So bags definitely do really make a difference. I think personally, whatever bag you do get, you need to spend time with it and really just play with it to get a feel of the bag and just, you know, get that comfortability with it. And it's not going to be for everybody. So you got to be open to throw a different bag as well too. Usually, if I know that they're like a really, really, really high shooter or something, and they're just like, yo, we're running this. Best odds, you know, like I'm a good shooter, so it's like our best odds is to make sure we're both comfortable. I'll adapt to it. You know, I've thrown around with a bunch of bags, so I do know the feel of bags, or I'll make the adjustments, you know, like I try not to like be the negative Nancy who's like, oh, I don't want to run this bag because, you know, it's like, it's not mine, you know, so I'll throw their bags. If they really want to throw their bags because they just feel confident with it, I'm like, hey, you better throw heat then, because you want to run your bag. So, you know, but no. But yeah, I think, you know, you got to really just play with your bag. It's going to take a few months to just get really confident with it. You know, because yeah, every bag does play different. Whether or not you have like the same bag as the next guy but a different template, it will play different.
Or
It
even
really
though
will.
you can have the same bag and
Yeah.
break it in differently, and it'll be a
Yeah,
little
yeah,
different.
breaking bag. It's crazy. Yeah. That was one of the questions too, right?
We'll get there. But I also want to ask you a question. Is there a certain thing you look for when buying bags? Because some new people, when they're getting into it, trying to buy some bags, what do you look for when you're buying a new bag?
So obviously now being sponsored, I'm gonna throw these. But before I was sponsored, I looked at bags, uh, ratings wise. Um, wanted to kind of, and I did research to listen to like users who've had these bags or they're using them. They're like, yo, this, it's this or whatever. It's got a different type of kick on it, right? If you're true to a flat bag, it's going to be nice, but if you're a little wobbly, it will kick on you, whatever. Like all that stuff does play into the factor of your game. I like obviously like everybody loves designs, So there is some cool designs out there. They've done really well now. Like all these companies have done really well putting some sweet designs. Why? It's an eye grabber, it's gonna sell. That's the thing. When it really comes down to it though, when you watch most of the top guys, they're not playing those super fancy cool looking bags. They're staying to the kind of to the basic stuff. Maybe the newer, when they get their newer bag, they're gonna still have their kind of generic design of the bag. I think it just probably plays better overall. But yeah, if you're getting bags or if you're in the market for bags, I think before you even buy bags, is you play with everybody's bags, different stuff. Check it out, test it, see if that bag is going to be for you. Do you like the feel of it? And then that's when you can kind of make that decision. I mean, you can't go wrong with a lot of these companies. They do really, really well. But I think, yeah, if you're going in and you're trying to get a bag or whatever, and you don't know too much, play everybody's stuff first. Ask questions, see how they feel with the bag, um, you know, and then go from there. So, and then eventually you'll become a bag connoisseur, and you're gonna have a ton of your own, and you're gonna throw one set. You're gonna have
Pretty much
all these sets of bags, and you're gonna just throw one set. Like I've sold a couple sets already, so just because I'm like, I'm never playing with these bags ever again, like it's just not happening, But
I mean, that's kind of what, yeah. I would say definitely go to like a local and start throwing, or try to find someone that has a ton of bags. Go to their house and just throw and just say, hey, can I try this bag? Can I try this bag? That's what I did. A lot of friends already had a bunch of bags, so I got to throw like 30 different bags in the same day.
Yeah.
Then you obviously just start your own collection of bags and whatnot, and selling and buying and whatnot. But what I've started to try to do when I am looking for bags or whatever, now just being with Black Sheep, obviously I'm sponsored by Black Sheep and on their advanced team, so that's cool. But what I try to do is find a bag you like and then buy 2 to 3 colors. So like right now I just got the sentence bags. I got a blue version, and then I got like a blue and green version. There's 2 different versions, but the backs, one's gray and then one is the actual like kind of lighter blue backing, because they're gonna play different, they're gonna feel different. And then you're gonna figure out what you like, what you don't like, kind of things like that.
Right.
Just different fills and whatnot, because each bag's gonna have a different fill, have different kicks depending on what you like. And then they're also gonna play in different weather conditions, and you'll figure out what bags you like then. But yeah, I would say pick 1 to 2 bags, have a couple different colors of each bag. If you're like trying to get actually serious, I mean, if you're just trying to have fun, buy the coolest design you like and just throw the bags. But it's almost finding like, because you're gonna dial in your throw to a point where it's gonna be the same every time. So that minuscule, like, it could be a 5.5 to a 5.8 speed or a 5.2 is what you need, and like that's your sweet spot. And then you just adjust to that color accordingly to how the boards are playing and what you're trying to do that day. So that's kind of what I look for when I'm buying a bag or whatever. It's just trying to figure out, or also if say you bought a bag and someone else has a different design, go over and throw their bag and see if you like that design better. Because I know people will be on Facebook and they're like, hey, does anyone have this bag with this design? That's the only one I'm looking for. I don't want any other designs, because they know that one works for them and that's what it feels the best in their hands.
Right.
So, but yeah.
I would also say too, when you are starting out, don't worry about the number of the speed. Literally just worry about, does this bag play really fast? Does it play slow?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because really, I mean, you got to kind of dig in more and play more to understand those speeds. And honestly, I mean, a lot of it, like when you're gonna play carpet to a non-carpet bag, that's really where you're gonna tell. I mean, when you're really like breaking it down, you're gonna know. And yeah, I think honestly, just play whether it's fast or slow. If you're like, hey, I'm good at fast bags, cool, you know, like we're good then. But if you're like, I like a really slow bag, well, don't play a super fast bag because you're just not gonna. I mean, you're not gonna win. You know, if you're used to like something that just doesn't move that much, but you throw harder, so it moves good for you, you're gonna switch to a fast bag, and boom, every bag is going off.
I mean,
And then you're gonna
that's
try
what
to make
happened to
adjustments
me
in
so
shortboard.
much. I'd always go with BG Vikings because I had a hard throw, and then I get a partner in just a local, and they would literally couldn't throw to save their life. So I try to like figure it out, but honestly, carpet to non-carpet, it's really gonna vary. A 6 in carpet's probably gonna play like a 4 with non-carpet. So it varies on the materials. You're gonna learn that over time. The herringbone carpet's gonna play different than the traditional carpet. Then
break down a herringbone carpet to a traditional carpet so people know, because there is a difference big time between herringbone carpet and traditional carpet.
I mean, the herringbone carpet is typically the like V pattern on the back, and the regular carpet is just your basic like just looks like a wire kind of squares. Herringbone is more of a delicate carpet. I will say do not spin it on your finger or you will put a hole in it. It'll unravel itself, so that is a big thing. But also herringbone is more hole friendly. It's a little bit quicker than a traditional carpet, but still has all the same like usabilities, I guess. Like you can still roll, you can do everything. I mean, you can roll with a lot of bags, but herringbone is a little bit more, you're in between, not quite a Viper R hybrid carpet, which is more like your silky feel, cuts through humidity a little bit better. But the herringbone is the in between the hybrid carpet and the regular carpet.
Right.
So that's how I would explain it.
Sounds good. Okay. So if anybody had questions on that, because there's a lot of people asked the difference between carpets, and I mean, I personally felt like a herringbone carpet is more versatile.
It's also typically your faster carpet too.
Faster carpet, more versatile, allows you to do a little bit more with it. I personally feel like I lay bags better, blocks with those, because I mean my Bags Mania ones I have, those are herringbone carpet, you know, and they sit nice. I mean, it's just me though, you know, like play around with bags, you know, don't go out and buy a ton. They're expensive, but you know, when you're ready,
you also got to figure out what some bags are fuller than others too. So you might like a less full bag, you might like a more full bag, and that depending on how your grip is, sometimes they're more floppy. Sometimes the materials break down with less fill. It's going to be more flop in your hand. Your fingers are going to touch through the bag. Or do you like fill between where your fingers aren't touching? That's also another deciding factor on bags.
And that's a love-hate with me. See, I love it when I love it like when I can kind of feel my fingers through the bag when I'm throwing my normal bag, but I absolutely hate it on my roll shot.
I don't know why. In general,
I feel it's crazy. Like, so then it's kind of hard for me because when I'm going to roll, so like my Halloween ones, those are literally like super drippy. I can feel like through the bag, you know, like finger to finger. But now you like those ones, and you're not a big fan of like those, you know. But like
I don't feel my fingers through the Halloween one.
I think it's because the way I hold for my roll shot.
Probably.
So, and my roll shot comes in really nice, but when I feel like I can almost like pinch through, and I'm like, oh my god, like this is just gonna come out like weird, or I'm just gonna short arm it, you know, what I'm gonna do something bad with this bag right now. I can still roll it, but it just does. Like now with my other set, I can kind of get more of like the beads in between, and I don't feel it, and then I let it go, and I've got like a vicious roll shot. And I think maybe it's just like could be a mental side. I'm just thinking about it and
And
maybe
how we're
don't think about
explaining
it
it,
too
this
much.
is
But
the same bag. It's the Wingman by
yeah,
Brotherhood, same bag, but different designs.
yeah, the different design. Yeah, absolutely,
Mm-hmm.
absolutely.
All right, to finish it off, let's get into the YouTube questions real quick, or the comments people left.
Right.
So someone asked, what is the best way to break in new bags?
I'm gonna be short and simple. You got more of a break. I do know how to break in bags. We tend to do the same one. So I'll let you talk about that one. But I'm also a firm believer in if you want to master your bag, just throw the heck out of the bag. Play it from where it's not broken in, so you know how it feels, to all the way when that bag finally breaks in. Because I feel like by the time that bag is kind of like fully broken in, you've thrown it so much, you may not have necessarily mastered the bag, but you definitely have comfortability with the bag and you know how it's going to be. But if you're like on the fast track and you just want it in and like you want it broken, you're ready to play for the next tournament, there is a remedy. There's a bunch of remedies out there, but one of the simple ones that we do, Gunner's going to lead that off on that one.
Yeah, so I'm gonna go over the couple times broken bags in a couple different ways, but I'm a believer in the white distilled vinegar. But I first originally started off with soaking the bags for 20 minutes and putting Dawn dish soap on them and rubbing them, just massaging, and then rinsing out and drying. Broken the bags a little bit, not too much. Still had to throw them literally a ton for like a month to break them in. So that's a very slow one, just get a little kickstart. I've done hot water soak for 15 minutes, then throw them in the wash machine with no detergents or anything, and then throw them in the dryer. That does help, but doesn't fully get them broken in as quickly. Also, I've done the Ultra Breaking Kit. That is a hot water soak for 5 minutes. Then you put conditioner on them, you rinse them, then you put soap on them, and then you rinse them again, and then you dry them in your dryer. And you also, in between the conditioner and soap, you actually beat them with a mallet, which it comes all in the kit for Ultra. This tends to feel like it just speeds up the bag and it cleans the bag. So it will break it in a little bit, but also I sometimes, like on my BG Vikings, back when I was throwing those, I did this breaking method 3 times of them to get them somewhat broken in. I've also just done like hair conditioner, so hot water soak just to regular hair conditioner, what you use in the shower. Now that broke down the fibers in the carpet really well, but it got it so floppy where you can't even hold the bag, so I don't recommend that. The one I would recommend is a hot water soak with white distilled vinegar. I do a sink full of hot water, something you can put your hand in without burning your hand so it's not too hot. Put a cup of white distilled vinegar, let it sit for 30 minutes. Typically, when you're first starting out, do 30 minutes, throw them in the dryer, then go throw your bags. Because some bags, depending on the carpet, depending on what the slow side is, the fast side, it's going to break in. Some bags will break in faster than the others. So I do 30 minutes at a time. And then if I think it needs more, I'll do another 30 minutes until you can kind of gauge. Like now that I got my herringbone carpets, I just threw them for 45 minutes because I knew that would be perfect. And you'll start to realize what that sweet spot is for each bag the way you like it. But start with that 30 minutes and do 30-minute increments because it can't hurt to go more. You just can't go backwards. So if you start out slow, then you'll kind of learn the process and figure it all out.
Yeah, you can even do you can do a hot water soak, and then if you got like if you live in like a warm area, like a lot of sun, you can put those bad boys out and let them just dry in the sun, but then start throwing them. The moment like you get them out there and they start drying up, start throwing them. Literally, get them thrown because you got to break those fibers in. You got to break the material in. It's got to stretch a little bit. When it's stiff, I mean, we know you guys want to go out there and throw your bags because they're so pretty, but if it's a stiff bag, nobody's gonna want to play with it. I mean, it's cause for chaos. I mean, you're gonna clog so many holes trying to go in, and it's just gonna be a nightmare. I mean, you're gonna see a PPR drop for sure. Play with them, break them in. Look at a few different ways. I think though too, you got to be careful with some of these break-in methods because it does void warranties. So just understand that if you are doing your own break-ins, Like I
You're
know
taking the
Ultra
risk.
Ultra will literally tell you, they're like, you're not doing our break-in kit or whatever, like you're voiding your warranty. So whatever happens,
Mhm.
happens. And I think a lot of companies are that way. So just be willing to accept the fact that if you mess it up in the dryer. So like when I do mine in the dryer, I do about 6 towels and I do light tumble dry with no heat.
Yeah,
And
that's what I
I
was
do
gonna
that
say.
for
I
like
forgot that
and I
part. No
literally do it
heat.
for an hour. Like I do no heat at all. Some people don't even recommend the dryer at all. Like you just get them, like literally rinse them out and then leave them to dry. And then like as they're kind of damp, get them throwing. You can
Mhm.
do that too. Just to, you know what I mean? Like you got to play them. That's the biggest part. So whether they come out and they feel good out of the dryer, start throwing. Because
Mhm.
I mean, yeah, they're going to be more broken in than they were. But if you're not throwing them, it's just kind of, because you got to get the carpet side worked in too. You will notice that like a new bag that you just broke in and your bag is zooming, it's because it's got no playtime.
Mhm.
Literally, it's got no playtime. So you're going to notice, you're like, dude, my bag is just ripping off the board. And, especially if you're not like super accurate to the hole, you're going to zip left, right, or whatever. Like you obviously want to keep your bag alive for a point,
Mhm.
but if it's coming in too quick, it's just, you just know you didn't have any time on the, you didn't have any play time. You didn't get any miles on the bag. So therefore, you're going to get those results. So play the
Yeah.
bags.
No, that is also one thing I miss is no heat. I mean, if you're not worried about playing in ACLs or anything, and you want to do heat, I know some people still do high heat. I don't like it. I'll just tumble them, and then I'll throw them when they're damp. But I know there's been some people that do put it on heat, and it will actually shrink the bag out of regulation for the ACL, and then they can't use that bag anymore.
Yep.
So that is something to just be aware of. No heat, tumble dry.
Yeah.
Best way to go. Throw a couple towels in with it,
Yeah.
and just do whatever you gotta do.
Or even put them in a pillowcase.
Yeah.
Tie the pillowcase up so it's like locked up. Which I might start doing that too, just out of like safety of my bags.
I've never done that, but also someone that at your local tournament, I sold him bags. Joseph sold him some Costello X's, and he asked me if I had a replacement bag because he threw him in the dryer without a pillowcase and it ripped one of them.
Yeah.
So
it happens.
Yeah. All right. So moving on to the next question, our final question. What are your thoughts on the ACL's new change allowing different weighted bags being thrown from the same series? Do you think it overcomplicates the game?
I'm gonna say yes, it does, because really nobody's doing it. That's
Well,
the thing.
I also personally feel the 15.5 ounce to the 16.5 ounce is not a big enough difference to be able to lay a blocker and then not be able to push through it. I don't think the 1 ounce is going to change that much. And I also feel like throwing 4 bags and trying to be as consistent as can be, now you're going to have to worry about which weight you're throwing and trying to figure out what bag you want to throw first or second or third.
Yeah.
And I don't think it matters as much as people would think. I think if you lay a block, it's still going to cause chaos, whether it's a heavy bag or a light bag. I mean, maybe if you get a set of all 4 because you like the heavier bag, or maybe you like the lighter bag because you can't throw like as far or whatever. But I don't think mixing weights is really going to stop a pro from rolling over, airmailing, or pushing through your block on fast side. I don't think it's going to mess people up that much.
Yeah, 100%. I personally don't think it's viable, really. I don't think that option is good,
I think
to me, because you're really like, you're messing yourself up. The bag is going to feel different in your hand each time. So now if you're like naturally throw harder or whatever, you're going to be dealing with like, like once you throw your lighter bag, do you throw off, like there's I think it overcomplicated everything. And there's like nobody doing it.
I mean, the only way I think to change up the game by doing something like that is throwing different speed bags, not different weights. Like you might throw like a BG Viking, then a BG Wizard, then like a Wingman, then
but now you're getting like super, I don't know, like.
But I'm saying if someone wanted like 2 blocking bags and 2 push bags or whatever, like that's the only way to change it up. But I really believe that no one's going to be doing that.
No, and honestly, I don't even see anybody doing this with the weight adjustments.
Mm-mm.
Like it's just something. I mean, people are already having a hard time with the foot fouling, you know.
Right.
Now they're like, oh, now I can play with these bags, but I don't understand, you know.
Or should I
Like,
throw my heavy one first, or
yeah,
should I
should I throw
use
the
it for
heavy
the
first or the
cleanup?
lighter first? Like, what do I do here, you know? And then, yeah, now you're just really just adding so much stress on your plate.
I think people are just gonna overthink it at that point.
Yeah, that's what it's gonna happen. Is they're gonna be like, okay, this is my blocker bag. But then you block your your light bag, and then you know you're, you know what I mean. So it's like everything starts.
Do you
getting
use
all
the heavy
mixed
one
up.
to clean up, or do you use the heavy one to block?
Yeah, right. Yeah, and
So-
honestly, I think everybody's gonna stay to the same weights and just leave it as that. I think honestly, it shouldn't even have been where you can have different weights in your bags, like to mix them. I think it could just be like you can play with this weight to this weight. Whatever you want. Do you want to play with a heavier bag? All 4 of your bags got to be that.
Yeah.
You want to play with a lighter bag? Like, and regulation allows it to be like that because it's not going to make a huge difference.
No, I think it'll just be how you throw it. If you're stronger or not, that's it. Some people like heavier baseball bats and lighter baseball bats.
Right. But it's within regulation. So, yeah, I think mixing them is kind of dumb. Like, like that's just kind of like to lay it out there. I think it's dumb.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
All right. Well, let us know in the comments. Do you have a playing ritual?
Yes, that is a huge one.
Because I know I like to listen to music. If I don't listen to music, I suck at cornhole. But some people might say, oh, you should be able to throw without or whatever. And also, if you do listen to music, what kind of music are you listening to?
Yeah.
Because I know I have to listen to slow country music, or if I listen to anything fast, it pumps me up and then I chuck the bag.
Right.
Or do people listen to upbeat music to be able to throw better? I don't know.
What do you do is basically what we want to know. We're interested in that. Let us know, in those comments.
You have to wear
do you have a ritual? Yeah.
Wear a certain hat?
It may not even be music. Yeah. Right. It could be anything. Do you have do you have to have like a certain pair of shoes you wear, a hat? I personally know a buddy who he just got his hat back and it's been affecting him. You know, I mean, he's a military veteran and this hat means everything to him. So he just felt lost without it. So he got his hat back and he feels pumped, you know? So, I mean, and it might sound stupid, but I mean, it really does play a mental factor. And what did we talk about? This game is like almost all mental, you know? So do you have music that you listen to? Does it have to be a certain headphone? Do it be earbuds? Is it going to be a big old headset like this? Do you not have to listen to music at all? Like, you know, yeah, we're just curious to see what everybody does. Do you have like a warm up ritual you do before you start? You know, a lot of people I actually personally, when I'm warming up, I like to throw a bunch of airmails just to get my arm loose. So everybody will be looking at me. He's missing everywhere. I'm just loosening up my arm. You know, like I just want to get my arm nice and loose. I'll throw airmails if they're going in, sweet. If not, or like, you know, I'll slide one airmail. You know, I'll just kind of do something to really just kind of get myself into the mode for the game. Because if I'm just like staying robotic the same way, you know, and then I go into the game, but then we're not going hole for hole, you know, it's gonna mess with me. So yeah, like, do you have like a pregame ritual? Do you do you like to warm up? Some people don't even like to warm up. They're like, let's just go. I think that's ridiculous, but you know, that's just
their
me.
choice.
Yeah, it's their choice. But you know, they gotta you gotta agree on it though. They can't go in there and be like, hey, we're not warming up, we're starting. Be like, nah, man. Like, it's not happening. We're warming up.
You at least get one down and back.
Yeah, we're at least getting that down and back. You're not gonna get me on no warm up. You know, sorry. And use your voice on that too. Don't ever be afraid and don't let people take advantage of you. That's a big one. People are always trying to find a way to take advantage of you as a player for the edge. So never feel like, as long as you know the rules of the game and you're not violating any rules, play your game.
Yep.
You know? And if they get mad about it, like, oh, he wasn't matching my rhythm. He wasn't throwing the same speed or the same timing as me. Sorry. You know? Like, if it messes you up, hey, then that's my edge, and I wasn't intentionally doing it. I'm just doing it because I'm doing my own rhythm. So that's what we want to know. Do you have a ritual? Do you got pregame rituals? Do you got rituals that you have to have something? You know, let us know in the comments, because that's actually really interesting to hear what you guys have to say. So also make sure you guys do like, subscribe, comment, share the video, share the channel. Let everybody know. We are going to bring guest stars on the show. I've had a few reach out to me. I've had some pros reach out to me now that want to get on the show, which is going to be really cool. And then we're just going to keep it going. So make sure you guys, now we have 2 different companies you guys can go through. We got for Brotherhood, you guys use the code Nyberg10 is going to give you that discount in there on all the new bags, merch, and everything. And
Black
Gunner,
Sheep baggers should be code Brisden. I got to make sure it's still active because I was a ambassador.
He started as a bag rep or an ambassador, but now he's
now sponsored. So I got to make sure it's still the same code, still active. But it should be Briz10 for 10% off anything on the website. And I think that's gonna wrap up episode 6.
It was a good, strong episode, guys.
So we'll see you guys in episode 7 and maybe even have a guest.
Sounds good.